Hello and welcome back to the Art of Reduction. My name is Reeve Andrews and I'm going to be your barber today. Today we have a special guest. His name is Ryan Ream. He'll be graduating from Bloomington South this year and he'll be going to West Point. If you watched one of my episodes before, his brother Adrian was here, had some really nice hair, but as twins, they have really different hair. You're twins, right? Yeah, so we'll change that. So as twins, they have really different hair. Adrian had nice dark, kind of darker black hair, and Ryan has some beautiful blonde hair with a lot of texture. We're gonna be focused on a really nice tight taper on the sides and in the back, and we're gonna really work a lot of scissor work and texture into the bangs and the top. So Ryan, come on over. Thank you so much, homie. Yes, no problem. So, again, here at the Art of Reduction, our main objective is for you guys to figure out or learn one thing with each video. Mark Cuban allegedly reads like one book a week, and he says, as long as I get one thing out of that book, it was worth the read. So I know I talk a lot during my videos, but that's the point, is really trying to get the 20 years of my experience just to kind of give it to the camera so you guys can maybe take one thing. So as we look at Ryan, he just has some really cool hair. We're gonna do a nice taper on his back. We're gonna have a nice taper on the corners. And our goal is to try to stack the crown a little bit. And as we adventure forward, nice full bang on him. So let's go ahead and drape him up. Again, we already had our little consultation off camera today, but most importantly, it is so important to have a nice introduction, nice firm handshake, usher them to your chair, sit them down, have a nice consultation. You know, how long do you spend with your hair? What are you expecting out of this haircut today? What do you and don't you like about the hair that you have right now? When's the last time you had a haircut? Do you spend time during the day or in the morning, you know, fixing your hair, or you just want to get out of the shower and go? You know, it really, when I think of a haircut for someone, what is their lifestyle? What can and can't their hair do? And what do they want their hair to do? And if we could try to, you know, add all that together, we'll really get a nice, good haircut at the end. But it's kind of creating a formula, an idea, trying to get a blueprint in your head, and also to relay to him the blueprint so that he could relax and really enjoy the time in the chair with you. So at first, if you know me, I like sectioning off my hair, and I like to prep my hair. So I've been a big fan of the Neckline by Aveda. It's just kind of a leave-in conditioner, kind of adds a little bit of glide, a little bit of slickness to the hair. So I'm gonna add a nice amount of this. I'm gonna go ahead and just spray the top down a little bit. And really what I'm trying to do is I wanna get this good hair, all the scissor work we're about to do, we're gonna do that last. So I'm really gonna focus on his taper today in the back first, and then we'll usher in to the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start my process of sectioning him off. And I'm kind of just doing, again, a classic horseshoe shape, kind of starting at the crown and kind of just following the natural shape of his head. I think that's the best way to go about sectioning, is really using just their head shape to best create this. I want some of this hair in this corner. I feel like maybe I could have, some people might have went straight across and brought this hair down, but I need some of that extra corner energy for when he wears his bangs, he could have a little bit of length on the corners. So let's go ahead and just mark this off real quick. And just however you do one side, I encourage us to go to the other side. I'm just gonna follow that same line that I had over here, and I'm gonna work my way all the way forward. Comb down, comb up. Just again, I'm trying to just mimic, trying to have a very even horseshoe sectioning throughout this whole haircut. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit of that corner hair so I could have, or I'm actually gonna try to push that corner hair up because I need some, again, create some fullness in those corners. Let's go ahead and mark this off. Boom, boom, and there we go. So we have a nice sectioned off top that we're gonna do all our scissor work, and we're gonna focus on our clipper work and our taper. You can kind of see how it's kind of two haircuts in one. There's kind of this long hair right through here that's like kind of like the in between of our nice tightness of our taper. We have some energy, some longer hair here that kind of ushers into the top. So we need to be careful that we really don't get into this length too much. I'm gonna use scissors here, but anything below that, I really am gonna use a lot of clipper work. So let's dive right in. I'm gonna be pretty aggressive with Ryan today. A lot of times I kind of play it soft, but I want to go pretty harsh with him today. I think the more confident you are as a stylist and a barber, and the more aggressive we start haircuts off at, I really think they turn out the coolest. So if we're just if they just want a little cleanup and they don't want much off, yeah, we could do kind of a softer cut to begin with. Don't need to do these kind of harsh lines at first. But if you're confident in yourself and you're really wanting to make a haircut pop, I encourage you to be aggressive from the very beginning of the cut, and I promise you that a lot of great things will happen. So all I'm doing just right now is I'm just kind of creating a quick little guideline for my taper right here. So I'm just using my trimmer. Let's go ahead and do a little ear detail. I'm kind of just cleaning up this little C shape around his ear, creating a nice little block at the bottom, clean up some of his peach fuzz on his neck, and then I'm just going to clean up just a quick little lineup on his C-cup. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to push for this bar right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first guideline for this taper. So I'm going to just kind of start at the top of his ear, and let's just be aggressive. Whatever you put the initial line in with is what you're most likely going to get the line out with. So I'm just making a mental note that I use my Ettore Hanzo trimmers to make this first line. And I know when I get back down to it, that's what I'm going to need to use to bust it out. So from there, I'm going to jump on my JRL clippers, and I'm going to open it up all the way, and I'm going to keep my guard open, these first initial cuts. So I'm going to do no guard open, 1.5 guard open, 2 guard open, 3 guard open, 4 guard open, 5 guard open, and then I'm going to work all the way down each guard again, and I'm going to start using my lever a little bit more. So these first initial swipes, this is a no guard open. I'm actually going to move to more of a bristle brush, because I think this is a little bit better than just my comb. He has nice soft hair, so I need something that has a little bit of grab to it. And I'm just going to start hitting that line. My main objective is not to go behind the ear on this. So I'm kind of using that ear as the far as I want to go. From there, I'm jumping on a 1.5 guard open, skipping my half guard, skipping my 1 guard. All this is doing is creating a lot of lift really quickly, kind of moving from a tight look to a longer look in a very quick fashion. He has pretty unique hair, so let's just be patient. Again, my main objective is to really just kind of bring unique hair to the table. I'm not here to cut super easy haircuts I cut all the time. Again, I'm trying to learn as well. So I just want these series just to kind of push me a little bit as a barber as well. So that's a 1.5 guard, jumping on my 2 guard, keeping it completely open. The hardest thing about this technique for me is it doesn't look perfect at first. Like these first couple initial swipes of my clipper with them all the way open, there's still a lot of ruggedness to the fade at first. It doesn't look blendy, it doesn't look buttery, and unfortunately that's just how my brain works. Like I want it to look buttery all the time. So I had to really kind of fight through the idea that it needs to look perfect with each and every pass, and just trust the process, because when I run back down it, I know it's going to look okay. So this is a 3 guard open, nice big flick out, not coming any farther behind that ear, following the natural shape of this cut. Okay, 4 guard now, all the way open still. Trying to keep some of this hair. I need some of that hair. So I'm not taking this all the way up. I'm just kind of bouncing into it. Nice strong flick out. 5 guard now. All the way open. Nice strong flick out, not coming any farther than that ear. Keeping a lot of that energy. Now I'm kind of rolling forward with it, especially on the corner right here, because I want that energy on the top to roll forward. Okay, I'm just gonna drop this for a second. I'm gonna drop my little bristle brush. I'm gonna jump on my Ettore Hanzo shears, my 21 tooth texturizers or blending shears. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit right at the end of that 5 guard that I just left off with, and I'm gonna work right into that length I was speaking of keeping for him. So let's go ahead and just kind of hit this a little bit more. I could always go back. I could always take some steps back if I have to. So I will probably jump on these again at some point. And all I'm doing is I'm just hitting the right in between that 5 guard open and this hair on top. I'm not really going any farther than that. Just kind of creating a natural blend for Ryan. Why not kind of come forward? Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cascade all the way back down. So I'm going to put my comb away, jump back up on my bristle brush, 5 guard all the way open. I'm going to work it right into that area of knee that I just used on my shears. And most importantly, guys, every little click counts now, okay? So one little click tighter, one little click tighter, one little click tighter, listening to the haircut. Again, number one, you just don't look at the haircut, you feel the haircut, you listen to the haircut. You really can almost put all your senses into it, maybe not smell, but all the other ones we could kind of use for our advantage to really create a good look. All the way tight now. I'm not hearing too much hair anymore, so we could pop off. That was a 5 guard all the way closed, so I'm gonna put my 4 guard on, I'm gonna open it all the way up. And now my main objective is to come just a little bit lower than I just was with my 5. Attacking in all different directions, a little tighter. Feel free to tilt their head, that suits you. If I tilt their head, it's gonna help me not accidentally round up into that cut. It's gonna make me be able to pop right out of it. Not going back behind his ear. A little tighter. Using a lot of my corners of my clipper right now. And I'm not trying to make any more guidelines. I'm trying to buff everything out, blend everything out. A little tighter. Again, always kind of kicking it forward because that's which way I want this hair to kind of naturally go. So I am kind of beating it into shape a little bit. All the way tight now with my 4 guard. Just being patient. Let the tool do the work. Dropping the 4 guard, moving to my 3 guard, all the way open. Coming right below my finished 4 guard. If you notice, I'm starting to kind of move his scalp a little bit, giving me some tension, creating some tautness on the hair, allowing my clipper to have something a little bit more aggressively to get into. Again, he has really soft hair. So a lot of this hair is just kind of flying through my clipper guard, not really getting cut. That's why I have to do quite a bit of strokes to get my look here. Perfect. A little tighter, a little lower. Using the toe or my heel very aggressively. Perfect. 2 guard, all the way open. Tilting his head. Working this corner out. If your clipper starts to get loud, let's go ahead and clean it off. Just a little bit of cool care. You can already tell it sounds a little bit more, it sounds like it's faster because it probably is. It's probably going to cut a little better. You're going to hear me more. So just taking the time to make sure the tools are clean. If they get bogged down, take the time to oil them back up because we want a nice, strong clipper to really be able to make our job easier. And if they're kind of bogged down like they just were a second ago, you're gonna have to do a lot more swipes in my book because the motor's bogged down, the blade's moving a little slower, and a lot of times you could hear it. So now it sounds a lot better. So usually I've cut I mean, I've cut hair all day at my shop already using these same tools. So, you know, again, trying to keep your tools oiled, cleaned, long lasting. We spend a lot of money on these tools. So, you know, it's just very important to try to listen to them and understand, you know, where they at. If it doesn't sound normal, it's worth just taking them apart, cleaning them, tightening them up, so you can have a long lasting clipper life. So this is my 2 guard all the way closed. Now I'm moving to a 1.5. You're catching my drift, all the way open. I'm gonna switch his head out. Just come a little lower, a little tighter, not going behind the ear. Tighter, all the way tight. Being patient, listening to it, watching it. And really the most important thing is you're creating a pattern. You're creating, even for, I need to remember everything I did on this side, because here in a second, I need to go mirror it on this other side. So I need to make sure my brain's processing the process that and more importantly, that I do the exact same thing on the other side, to make a nice balanced haircut, for my client to feel, in my book, we want to make them feel even, not just with the haircut, but the energy and pressure and thoughtfulness of each side. So if I spend all this time on this side doing all this work and I just kind of half-ass the other side, A, it's not going to look nearly the same. B, Ryan's going to feel definitely a difference on that other side, on just how much time and energy it took. And I would be kind of skeptical, if I was him, of me. So I think it's just important to make sure that, you know, as much as we're talking to our client, talking to the camera, whatever we're doing, that deep down in our brain, we're really thinking of the process that we've created on this one side, so I could create the same look on the other side. So this is a 1 guard all the way tight. So far this is looking really good on him. Moving to a 1/2 guard now. All the way open. Again, just using the corner of my clipper, slowly getting tighter and tighter, not going behind the ear just yet. All the way tight. No guard now. All the way open. Having my clipper angled down, not up anymore. Nice tautness on the temple. A little tighter. All the way tight. Putting that down. Remember, whatever we put that initial line in is what we're going to get the line out with. So I'm going to go back through, clean up around the ear. A little line up around the cup, C cup here. And now I'm going to use my trimmer. Push the good hair out of the way. Clean up my bar. Okay, from there, I'm gonna blow them off. I'm gonna spray them just with a little bit of hairspray. I'm gonna get my straight razor out. I already put a new blade in at my shop. I didn't, so I'm not putting one in right now, but just letting you know it's a brand new blade. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clean up my bar here. Take down that sideburn. I'm already here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick little eyebrow detail on this side. Take the unibrow down. When I do men's, I touch up every men's eyebrows. I don't care if just one hair I need to take off or a whole thing. But most importantly, I'm never trying to reshape their eyebrows. I'm just really trying to enhance the eyebrow. and keep it masculine. You know, if they wanted more feminine and they asked me to that's excellent. That's fine with me. But again, when I touch up these eyebrows, I'm normally not trying to shape them. I'm really just trying to clean them up to their natural level. And that to me really goes a long way for our older gentlemen, even younger guys. I just think it's an overall look that really looks good. So to me, that's a great start to our haircut, a great taper. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go do it to the other side. We're going to do it to the back, and then we'll start blending this section of hair, and then we'll drop those curls and texture on top. So here we go. I'm going to go a little quicker on this side and kind of talk just a little, not talk quicker, but I'm going to go a little bit more full steam. So let's go ahead and comb him in the direction we want. Jumping on my trimmer. I'm going to just kind of clean up just a little bit so I could see a nice shape. I do every ear. I kind of start at the back, follow the hair to the top, switch, meet in the middle, switch, meet in the middle, and I'm really just trying to get this to be a nice, smooth look. I'd like to, when I think of doing ears, I kind of think of doing like wheel wells around a car, and I just think, you know, a nice, sleek wheel well just really kind of shows an exotic car, you know, more aerodynamic of the wheel well, the kind of the sleeker, cooler the car. So I always try to create a nice, clean line around that. One of the tricks I always heard is you just push the ear back like this, and that tells you like how far you should go. So some people are different. Don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I push the ear up and it's way up here. Yeah, I probably shouldn't go that high because I'm not trying to white wall him. But if I push him back, that looks like feels like I naturally did it perfectly. So I feel comfortable with that. Again, I'm just going to make a nice little blunt spot on the ear line or the sideburn. I'm going to do a quick little lineup of this C cup all the way through. Push. I'm going to clean up this bar real quick, just like I did the other side. Let's go ahead and get some of this peach fuzz off the side of his cheek. Let's go ahead and clean up the ear a little bit. And then now I'm going to be aggressive with my first initial line. Cleaning up all my lines. Clean lines equal clean haircuts. No guard open. I think the left side of the head is kind of my easiest to fade for some reason. So I feel confident that, you know, as long as I got that other side looking how I wanted, I feel very confident that I could get this side. I am going to just take a second, because again, I need some of this hair right here. So it kind of fell down a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of capture it and put it back up there. There we go. Okay, so I'm back in action. So again, no guard all the way open. Not going around the ear just yet. Skipping my half guard, my 1 guard, moving straight to my 1.5 guard open. Switching to my bristle brush. Again, this does not have to be perfect. This first initial debulking of the taper does not have to be perfect, guys. That was the biggest thing that my brain couldn't comprehend. So just trust the process and know when we come back down the fade, she comes around. So this is a 2 guard all the way open, not coming around the ear. Monstrous flick out. And I want this front to come forward. So I'm kind of angling, cutting forward as I come to that corner. And then I kind of get back to a nice flat spot here. And then I kind of angle and flick out around the ear. 3 guard, open, flat spot, angled around the ear. Angling forward now. Foreguard open. Angling it towards the face. Back to my flat spot. Five guard now. This is the last guard I used on the other side, so I know I'm getting to the end of this section, and I'm going to use my texturizing shears to do a quick blend real quick, and then I get to work all the way back down Ryan's fade. So let's go ahead. I'm not hearing much hair, so I feel pretty promising that we're good here. Dropping this, dropping my bristle brush, jumping back on a normal comb. I'm going to tilt them up a little bit. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to hit this good hair right where that five guard meets it. I'm not really getting into the meat and potatoes of it yet. I will get to that here in a second. But really, I just want to focus on this blend. Point cut, point cut. I do encourage everyone to look into Hattori Hanzo shears. I've had them for 8 or 9 years. I have quite a bit of them. These things are magic. They're the Ferraris of scissor work. This allows me to really go fast. I could rip through a lot of hair very quickly. And they're a great company, guys. So I do encourage, I know they're expensive. I get that. And more importantly, I also used $100 shears for 7, 8 years of my career until I pulled the trigger on these. And once you kind of move to this realm of metal and design, it's really hard to go back. So I do encourage you to look into them. And if you need a representative or a contact, feel free to leave a message, and I could definitely get you in contact with people. So let's go ahead. We're almost done here. I feel confident with that. Jumping back on my five guard, and I'm going to work all the way down the lever each and every guard. So let's go ahead, start working this out a little tighter, all the way tight. Each client, I swear their head is different on each side. We're not symmetrical human beings. I feel like most human beings have a side they sleep on more than the other two, so it kind of smashes things down on one side or the other, maybe creates more of a kick in the cowlick. So just know that as much as we have a game plan that might have worked for that one side, we might have to kind of change it up a little bit on this side, even though majority of the process will be the same. It's not always the same. Hair is so different on each side of the head. So it's nice to have an idea of what you think is going to work, though you need to be ready to pivot and change that as you get into the haircut. That's what I think is the most fun with hair cutting, is that it's always different. Even your client, if he comes in every month, a lot could happen within a month that you have something new to talk about. Maybe he needs a whole different haircut because something, he has a new job, or his girl wants, girl he's talking to wants him to have a longer haircut or a shorter, who knows? There's so many things that could alter a man in 1 month. So that's what I love about barbering so much, is that it's always different. Even though I have the same clientele for years now, their lives change with every haircut. And I just think, as a good barber, to know your client, to have good conversation, a good relationship, an open relationship with these guys, really makes it fun for yourself not to get too burnt out. And it makes you valuable when you start to remember these clients, remember their parents' names, their animals' names, where they're going to school, because these haircuts live with them, right? I've cut Ryan's hair for most of his senior year, some of his junior year already. And, those are some pretty powerful times of his life. So I just think it's amazing that my haircuts have lived with him this whole time, So I just think it's worth to respect him, and you respect yourself, and to have a relationship, and to be prideful of your work. I want the best for Ryan because he deserves it. He's off doing great things, and I want my haircut doing great things, because the greater that he does and the more popular he gets and more successful he is, in the end, that just makes me more successful and happier in my book. So Now I'm on my 1.5 guard, all the way open. Start to know I'm starting to move its skin around a little bit, getting a nice tighter look, not coming around the ear just yet. Using the toe, using the heel, a little tighter, all the way tight now with my 1.5. Let me get this over so you guys can see a little bit more. All the way open with my 1 guard. A little tighter. A little tighter. All the way tight. So far I could tell this is looking really good. Half guard now, guys. All the way open, tilting his head away from me. Using the toe, using the heel, not trying to add any more guidelines. A little tighter. All the way tight. No guard now. All the way open. Remember, whatever you put that initial line in is what you're going to get the line out with. Tighter. A little tighter. All the way tight. Beautiful. Jumping on my Hattori Hanzos, this was the original tool that I put this line in with. I'm going to start back by just doing that initial kind of cleanup around the ear. Do a little quick cleanup of the C shape, even though it's kind of hard to see, it's still there and very important. I could flip, get a little tighter. Go ahead and just kind of clean up the eyebrow just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna hit them with a little bit of hairspray, just like I did. Let's blow them off first. Close your eyes, Ryan. Hit them with just a little bit of hairspray. I like to cover their face. And I just like adding a little bit of, it's a very soft hairspray, just adds a little bit of tack so my razor has something to grab. Let's pull the good hair out of the way. I'm gonna clean up this bar. Clean up this C shape. Clean up around the ear. And I'm just gonna clean up that taper at the very bottom. Go ahead and clean up the eyebrows while we're here. Again, I'm not really trying to change his shape. Just make them look even. I don't like to really talk too much when I have the razor in my hand. I just think the razor is just such a scary tool as well as a tool to be respected. I think this is probably the most respectful tool that you should respect. It could cause the most harm, I get that, but there's something about when you bust out a razor on a client that it builds a connection. There's trust, there's something that it brings out in the service. So I do encourage you all to try to add the razor into your service for the sole purpose of creating not just a beautiful haircut, because like really this is what creates beautiful cuts in my book as a razor, but mostly I think it also just creates a really great relationship with you and your client. So I'm gonna drop that. Feel confident, might get back to the razor here in a second, and all I'm gonna do is I just wanna hit this one more time with my Hattori Hanzos. I'm gonna work it all the way to the front. any kind of heavy parts of this, I'm going to hit. I'm even going to kind of hit this little back heavy part, even though we'll probably hit some of this with the clipper here in a second. So just keeping that hair nice and long, because we need this good hair to usher into all that texture up top. If I would have taken my clipper up too high, it would have been more like a fade, you know, or something like that. And I'm really trying to create a tapered look for Ryan. So let's go ahead, just kind of hit up this thick corner for a second. Keep working it, keep working it. Again, I feel like we're humans. I mean, I'm speaking of myself. I'm a lazy guy. Like I could think naturally we want to be lazy in life. I don't know why our brains kind of do that to us, but a lot of times my brain is like, Reeve, you're done, move on, you know. But I really try my hardest to push through it just in a couple more minutes, even when my brain says, hey, you're done, move on to the next level, move on, we want to get done. Like, I just think it's wise to kind of not listen to that voice in your head too much, and really just continue adding the sauce, adding that extra cut, that extra movement to really kind of create something special for you and your client. So I feel really confident with where we're at here. Again, we're going to go back through a scissor work to really touch up a lot of this. But again, I just personally like trying to get a shape as quick as possible, guys. That's my main objective. Is I need my brain to literally see. You know, I created that blueprint in my head, and I told him what I think I wanted to do. That's great, but it's more amazing when you start to see it come to life, and then you get a little bit, a spark of encouragement for yourself, and like, hey, this is going to look really good. So what I did not do what I just did on this side, so that's what I want to do here. I'm going to just kind of keep taking this down, looking for heavy spots. Just come around the ear a little bit. I'll move a little faster for everyone. Just looking for heavy spots. Especially with blonde hair, you can almost like, a lot of times with blonde hair, the hardest thing to do is because like you could see every cut line a lot of the times. You could see every little movement and every guard change, but that's the trick, is we're trying to make everything just buttery and smooth, and you don't know where it started or where it ended. That's my main objective when it comes to hair cutting, is like, I'd love for it to look like it grew shorter instead of it just got a haircut. I think that's the best kind of haircuts, when people assumed you got a haircut, you know, but really it looks so smooth and like it almost like it grew shorter. I think that's such a compliment when I look at haircuts. So let's go ahead and just kind of finish up some of the scissor work. Again, my brain's saying, oh, Reeve, you're done, move on, but I'm going to just be patient for a second and make this haircut really, really great for Ryan. One thing I think a lot of barbers need to do is just, you know, when you're talking to your client, it's either their name or sir. I don't care if I'm older than this gentleman right here, but in my book, he's paying me, right? He's coming into my shop, he's paying me for my haircut. So technically, he's giving me my paycheck. So technically, he's my boss. If he's paying me, to me, that's a boss, right? Bosses pay you your paycheck. So I treat everybody like they're my boss. When we sit down for our consultation, it's yes, sir, no, sir. It's their name, depending on what kind of relationship we have. It's not, what's up, dog? What's up, homie or bro? You could do that occasionally, but the best thing to do is to be as professional as you can. And the one thing I've always heard, the most loving and the most loving word someone could hear you say to them is actually their name. It just creates a connection. It creates an energy. It makes it one-on-one. And I just think using someone's name, even when you're trying to get a deal on a car or something, or wanting to get, somehow get an extra pass to something, drop the person's name, like just try your hardest to create a connection, and using someone's name is a great way to create a connection. So I'm gonna just get this part right here a little bit more. Awesome. So let's move to the back. So I'm going to attack the back a little differently. I'm going to start really long with my clipper guard, and I'm going to work down. I kind of want this to have just a little different look than that tight taper that we created. So in my head, I'm going to start differently. That's like, to me, that's the best way to attack this. If you remember, I ended that taper with my 5 guard, so I actually am going to start with my 5 guard on the back, and more importantly, I'm not really going to mess with this brim of hair right here. So I'm actually going to kind of come right below it, and I'm going to have it open, nice strong flick out, and I'm going to kind of melt into that cut we did on both sides. So I'm going to kind of cut into it, come all the way around, kind of tap into that haircut we just did on the sides, come back around, nice flick out, tap into that part of the haircut we just had. And again, just like I did on that last part of the taper, I'm going to go click by click all the way down this fade, okay? So I'm going to start with a 5 guard, move to a 4, move to a 3, move to a 2, move to a 1.5, move to a 1, move to a half, no guard, maybe some razor work at his neckline. But most importantly, every little click of that lever, that little click, is going to be very, very important to this. So 5 guard all the way closed, rolling right off of his head. I'm going to jump back on my bristle brush here, brushing that hair into the shape that I want. Four guard all the way open. I'm going to start really kind of positioning his head to best benefit this haircut and myself and him. A little tighter. A little tighter. Kind of tag it into that haircut we did on the sides each and every time. A little tighter. All the way tight. This is my 4 guard. 4 guard's already all closed right now. I can still hear some hair, so let's just be patient. Three guard all the way open. Dropping right into that 4 guard that we had all the way closed. Tagging into this haircut on the side. Tagging into this haircut on the side. A little tighter. A little tighter. All the way tight now. Two guard all the way open. Let's blow them off real quick. All the way open. I'm gonna have him tilt his head down a little bit. Thank you, Ryan. I can still hear some hair being taken, so I just want to be patient for a second. Okay, all the way closed. Just watching his once we get down to the neck, it usually the pattern changes. So like all this hair and up, very nice. It's just growing straight down. So that's why I haven't had to like really tilt my clipper in any crazy direction really. Been really able just to kind of go right into the hair, creating a nice clean look, nice clean fade back here. But once we kind of get to these corners, now look at his hair. His hair is kind of doing a little circle pattern. It's kind of coming down right here, grows up, kind of kicks over to the right a little bit. This hair even like really aggressively kicks over to the right. So once I get to the neckline, we need to start angling our clipper a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive and watching which way that hair grows so that we could really dig in there and get a good look. So this is a 1.5 guard now, all the way open. And I'm just watching which way his hair grows, kind of kicks up here. I'm gonna have to go really aggressively to the side over here. Come back around. Now I need to go really aggressively kind of down and over. A little tighter. Down and over. Straight up. Pretty aggressively kicked over towards the right. Over towards his ear. All the way tight. Watching which way his hair grows. Being patient. I could hear some hair being taken, so I don't want to be lazy or have to go back to this guard. Let's get it all done with. Okay, 1 guard now. Again, I'm just using the toe or the heel of my guard or my clipper. I'm not trying to make any more guidelines with him. I'm just trying to make this all melty and blurry for him. Tacking straight down. Tacking straight down. Beautiful. So I might keep it here. Like I said, I wanted a little difference of the tightness around that taper up front and just a little longer version back here, just to kind of create some depth, maybe just a little different look. And I think I've really been able to achieve that. So let's just kind of make sure this blends nice around the ear. I'm just going to take a break for a second. I just want to kind of come up here, hit this real quick. Okay, so whatever you do to one side, let's go do to the other. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to come up around here. And again, I just think with blonde hair, the main objective is to not show any cut lines and just make sure everything's soft. I can still hear some hair being taken, so let's be patient. Awesome. I feel pretty great with that. I'm gonna blow them off. And I'm just gonna line up this neckline in the back. So I kind of like to start at my lowest point. So I'm gonna capture that. And I don't wanna go any lower than that. So I'm gonna start doing kind of like a little rocking ship technique all the way around. And I'm just gonna have a nice little bevel, stop, come to my lowest point, work my way up, stop, just come a little higher, stop, just a little bit higher, stop, a little bit higher. Okay, now I'm gonna flip, and I'm just gonna softly go right into that guideline. Right into that guideline, right into that guideline. Again, I like checking off boxes. I'm gonna blow them off real quick. I'm gonna undrape them just for a quick second. And I wanna finish up this bottom part of this cut. So I'm gonna make sure I move that necklace. I'm gonna add just a little bit of hairspray to the neckline. I'm gonna use my feather razor, a great way to kind of clean up the neckline fairly effectively and fast. Again, this is a brand new razor as well. I change them out between every client. Something you should do as well. And I'm just gonna be, again, with the feather razor, it's a very light touch, like a feather. I'm not gripping it at all, but it's just this nice little touch. And I'm just allowing kind of the tool to do the work. If I'm really aggressive, I might actually cut off a skin tag or maybe grab, a mole or a blemish or anything like that. So main objective is just to have the blade and the weight of the tool do the work. So from there, jumping on my Babyliss foil shaver, I always like to hit it with a little Sterling's Gold. I'm gonna finish up this neckline. I'm gonna start at the neckline and I roll straight down at first. I always like to use the back of my palm or my hand to kind of feel for any stubble. Why not move them over here real quick? Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. Okay, I'm gonna blow them off again. Get a new neck strip. And let's drape them back up, because now we get to move to the top. So as a cosmetologist by trade, learning barbering was the hardest thing for me to learn, even though that's what I wanted to be. So once I get done with kind of the barbering aspect of the cut, my anxiety goes down. I'm very confident with shears. So now I know I could really finish this haircut off well. This, to me, is always the hardest part. So I do encourage you, if you're a cosmetologist by trade, by license, by paper, should not stop you from trying to learn some of these awesome haircuts. So, like I said, we did some scissor work. We need this energy here to tap into like the length on top, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get them wet anymore. I might add a little bit of my Replenish leave-in conditioner just to add a little bit of hold and have a little bit of glide, I guess, or slickness that it kind of creates. And I'm really going to be I'm gonna try to do most of this cut through here all with my blending shears. So, because I want it soft, I want it textury, and I feel like with blonde hair, if I'm using my scissors, you might kind of see my cut lines a little too much. I'm really trying to eliminate that. So I'm going to just kind of naturally kind of come up, and really my main objective is I'm just hitting the ends of this hair. I'm not really getting into the meat and potatoes of it. I'm really just hitting the ends of his cut. So I'm going to kind of start, and I kind of point cut as well, but all I'm doing is I'm looking for the thick parts of his hair. Kind of see, I wonder if you guys can see how just like that to me looks thick. So those are the things I'm trying to look for and eliminate. So I'm really just kind of capturing the hair, brushing it into its natural shape, in the direction it wants to go, and then I'm kind of attacking it into that shape because I want it just to be able to fall real natural and nice for Ryan over here. So far I'm really enjoying this haircut on him. I know it's going to look good. I feel confident. And what's crazy is like there's something about speaking out loud. I've realized a lot of my better haircuts when I'm training new stylists at the shop, and I have to kind of do what I'm doing here. Just talk out loud. What is my brain thinking? And I try to put it to words. And really, I feel like some of my better haircuts naturally come from when I'm speaking out loud and really kind of, a lot of this subliminal. A lot of times I could do this and we could be talking about everything under the sun and I don't even know what my brain's even thinking. It just goes, you know, and I think that's the truest form that everyone should try to achieve, is where your brain kind of does all the work for you and your body just follows, and you could just talk to your client and not really have to worry about what you're thinking. It just kind of naturally does it. But there is something about speaking out loud, speaking things into existence. I like the quote, "To teach is to learn twice," meaning, you know, to be able to put it into words on what you're doing, you're really just teaching yourself again. And I think, again, that's why I try to have a student's heart on everything I do. I'm not perfect. I'll never say I am the best ever. I think that's just rude to a lot of the people before us who pushed and done way more than us. But I am here to practice every single day. So if I have to teach to learn and to practice, so be it. But I encourage all of us, once you get to a point of being really successful, pass it on. You know, it's not fair to keep all your knowledge to yourself with whatever you do. If it's your accountant, if you're a chef, if you're a business owner, if you're, you know, into making movies and clips and media, there's going to be that next generation, a younger person who doesn't know it all and who was in your shoes at some point, you know, and you were in their shoes at some point. So I do encourage you guys to teach inside your shops, teach the people around you, because in the end, like I said, it just only benefits you, sometimes even more than the person you're teaching. So there's my little rant on that, and I'm feeling really good so far about how this is all looking. Sticking to my game plan, just using my texturizers to soften this up, to make it blend. I'm also taking just a little bit of length off of it as I go. I'm going to tilt your head just a little bit, Ryan. Thank you. Feel free to kind of get back into some, you know, if we need to kind of detail work some of these areas, this is a great time to do it. Straight up, straight up, straight up. Okay, so now I'm going to drop my original sectioning, and we're going to kind of restart this whole process. So let's go ahead and blow him off real quick. So I'm going to, again, I like marking off the bangs. Again, I think the bangs are some of the most important aspects of the haircut. It's the first thing they see when they open their eyes in my book. So if the bangs are too short or too long or not thick enough or not textured enough, like That's the first thing they're gonna think of. So I really try to kind of keep the bangs as my last haircut, so all my energy is focused on them. I'm gonna add a little bit of water since we're about to do a lot of scissor work up here. And then, like how I've done this quite a bit of times, but I just put a normal comb, make sure they're looking straight up. I put that comb on their head, and wherever that comb meets that hairline and kind of creates our little angle, to me that's his bang. So what I normally do is I just kind of put my finger where it roughly is. I come all the way across even, and I snap a line all the way across. From there, I'm combing down, and then I'm going to section this part off, because this to me is the most important part. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple clips here just to remind me, hey Reeve, don't go any farther than this. And bam, here we are. So I'm going to start in the crown. I think the most important thing for me to do is to find its natural progression here. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and kind of comb them around. I'm going to face them down so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. And hopefully on camera, we can kind of see what I'm about to talk about. So every person has their own hurricane, their own crown, but I call it a hurricane because to me, some people have two eye of the storms, but mostly one person has one eye of the storm, and that's kind of the originator of his crown. It's like right here in my book, okay? And just like with any storm system, any hurricane, there's a wind pattern. There's swells that come out from that original epicenter, that eye of the hurricane. And for me, I'm trying to find which way it grows, and his is pretty unique. So let's just start at this bottom line. So here's the eye of the hurricane. See how his hair kind of comes down like this, has a strong angle down, kind of C shapes down here. Then all of a sudden, once we get to here, now it's shooting off to the side of his head, closer towards his front of his head, front, and then once we get to here, it's coming all the way towards an angle, and then all of a sudden this is kind of coming up, a little wrapping around, and all of a sudden now we're coming back down, coming back down, coming back down. Now all of a sudden we're back into our little bit of a C shape here, C shape, and then it starts to kind of go forward, really heavily forward towards the right, heavy forward towards the right. This goes straight down here. So that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to grab hair from the epicenter or the crown of this haircut, and I'm going to work with which way it's growing. Okay, so I'm gonna start back here, and that's my comb is grabbing from that epicenter, the eye of the hurricane, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut into the shape that is growing. So I'm gonna grab some more hair here. I'm gonna get some smaller scissors real quick. This hair kind of grows forward a little bit more. This hair goes way more forward. And then this is gonna be a little harder to show, but then from the front, I'm gonna have to grab it here. And I'm gonna kind of direct forward, following which way this hair wants to grow. I'm not a big fan of changing the growth pattern of the hair. I feel like we'll have a lot of things sticking up, not growing out properly, and that's just not what I want. But like I remember when at the very beginning, I said I wanted to kind of create a little bit more lift back here, so it's not so heavy. I want a little bit of energy. So I'm just naturally just kind of lightening it up. I'm not really changing the shape of it. His haircut kind of grew out nice from the last time. He had prom, so we really put on a good haircut for prom. That's the greatest thing is, if these guys are coming back to you and you drop a good haircut on them a month ago and they come back, your job is only going to get easier and easier, and you should get better and better with each haircut you do on your client because it grew out nice. You're getting comfortable with the shape of his head. You're getting comfortable with who he is. And so, that's the goal in barbering and styling is to get to know your people so much where every hair that's walking in the door, you're familiar with. Like I know every single person walking in the door. I know what I need to do. Even though I will still always ask them if we need to change anything. Are you feeling froggy? Did you notice anything online that you liked? Like I'll always be that guy to change a look up. But once a guy kind of finds his look, he usually rolls with it for a while. So you get pretty comfortable, maybe for a year or two, that that same haircut he wants, and that's what he's coming to you for, is that same look, that consistency that you create. And so that's kind of makes it easy for you once you get to a level of barbering where you know every single person, that you don't have any kind of oddballs or unicorns coming in that might throw you for a loop with what they're asking from their haircut. So again, I'm just following those wave patterns, those wind patterns, cutting right into it, adding a little bit more softness and texture back here, and I'm just working my way up to the front of his cut. Again, I like to be pretty aggressive. I'm over here tossing it up, being aggressive with it, just like he would in natural life. He's a long distance runner. He does some track. He's in the wind. He's running fast. I want him to be able to just run his hands through it, and it should just naturally flop into shape. He shouldn't have to really look at his haircut in a mirror to place it anywhere. He should just be able to run his hands through it, and I cut it so evenly and perfect, it just naturally falls exactly where he thinks it's going to look. So that's the beauty of this, is like I could be pretty efficient and designed where he just finished a marathon or just finished running, and he just has to tousle his hair up a little bit, and this bad boy falls right into place. So that's I think that's just a cool thing to be able to try to do. But you're not going to do that if you're not really kind of getting in here and living in the hair, kind of pretend you're him as you go about cutting the haircut. So just being patient. Let's go ahead. I'm going to grab on my texturizers or my thinning shears. And again, I'm following his hair shape. I'm following which way that pattern wanted to grow. I'm not going against it. I'm not trying to change anything, just trying to enhance, make it a little lighter, add a little bit more texture back here. He has nice straight hair. And I think we're really accomplishing that today for him. Sorry, Ryan. Okay. So we're getting towards the bangs now, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly add hair to the back. So now I'm just coming maybe a quarter of an inch from that original bang guideline that I kind of took out, and I'm going to comb this down, and I'm just going to section off again. So now I have bangs in my haircut now. So now I need to be very careful that I don't take too much off. And especially I don't take too much off in the corner. So I'm going to come straight up, and I'm actually going to change shears entirely. I want the front to have a little bit more texture. I want it kind of like softer texture in the back, a little thicker, but as we kind of come forward, I really want it to kind of be a little bit more piecier. So I'm jumping on my Ettore Hanzo's 13 teeth, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the tips. And I'm not really hitting the corners that much, because the corners are always lighter naturally. And I'm just kind of bringing some of these bangs back into that haircut that I just ended with to make sure we're even. And all I'm doing is I'm just hitting the tips, the thickest part of his bangs. I'm not really going to the corners. There's already texture built into that. And I'm just kind of keeping it right up top. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit more bang into Ryan's hair. Come a little lower on him. It might kind of start to get hard to put any kind of clip in his hair here in a second because it's starting to get finer. Coming back to the top. And all I'm doing is hitting the tips. And I'm just hitting the middle part of it. I'm not really getting on the corners yet. We'll kind of look at that straight on. Again, I'm tousling his hair, being just natural with it, kind of seeing what it looks like. You know, if it looks good, if I could do this really aggressively and it just kind of pops into shape, like he's not gonna be that aggressive with it in life. So it just goes to show, like, if I could be really aggressive and it just naturally kind of pops, falls into shape, I feel like I'm doing some good. So. Okay, last but not least, the last bit of bang. Let's blow them off real quick. Okay, I'm gonna tousle this all forward. And now I'm gonna come straight down and I'm just gonna hit any outliers. And again, I'm gonna be using my Torii Hanzo 13 tooth. I'm gonna keep it close to his head. Come to the other side real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna have them. Now I'm just gonna point cut with my texturizing shears to add a little bit more texture up front. I'm gonna pull these straight out now. Finding any corners, any heavy pieces. I'm gonna start using my blow dryer now. I like to use my blow dryer to kind of showcase any bad hairs. Kind of look at them one more time. Okay, I'm gonna get all the moisture off of them. Let's undrape them real quick. What I like to do is I like to get the hair off of the cape first, and then on the cold setting of your blow dryer, I just kind of put the nozzle below the cape first, kind of shake, and then I just pull the cape off. So that really allows, like, make sure no hair is falling on your client. I'm gonna get all that moisture out of his hair now. Get all those loose pieces of hair. So today I'm going to be using a couple different products. I'm going to be using the new Shampowder dry shampoo from Aveda, and I'm going to be using final product cement clay by Layrite. A lot of the times with kind of blonde hair and athletic guys, sometimes like the oiliness of the hair kind of like weighs it down. So this is just a great product to take all the oil out of the hair, especially since I use like kind of that leave-in conditioner at first. So this will kind of offset that oiliness from that leave-in conditioner that I had. A lot of times I will rinse them out before they leave, but where you don't have that opportunity here. And then from there, I'm just gonna add my Layrite cream. I don't need much. He has a ton of texture built in his hair. He has soft hair. I just add a little bit of dry shampoo. I'm always gonna start in the crown, and at first I just kind of make an exterior shell. The least amount of product needs to be up front. And then I'm gonna start making this haircut come to life. That looks really good. Thank you so much for watching The Art of Reduction. Please subscribe, please follow, and keep your eye out for more videos. Thank you so much.